Well, it's NFL free agency time, and obviously the Buffalo Bills have some decisions to make, but damn it, I will tell you, the number one priority for the Bills as far as contract extensions, hands down, has to be Christian Benford. On today's video, we are going to look at his production for the past couple of years, his injury history, his market value, and yes, spoiler alert, I think that this needs to be a priority for the Buffalo Bills so we don't outprice ourselves or we don't get out of his price range. My biggest fear is that we do not agree to an extension this offseason. He goes out and he balls, and then he is completely priced out. It ruins our future roster. I think we need to get it done almost immediately. Folks, welcome to another episode. I appreciate everyone that's tuning in on the replay version of this, but I highly recommend that you subscribe and you turn on bell notifications so you can be a part of my live chat community. I do all of these episodes live at 11 a.m. EST and 5:15 p.m. EST. So if you are just discovering me, highly recommend you subscribe, and more importantly, smash that like button. I think that we can get over 150 likes on said video. And don't worry, Master Jed Rick, I got the audio situated, baby. We are all good. Nice, crispy audio for the folks. Now, right before we start getting into the specifics of Christian Benford, have to give a giant shout out to BetUS, guys. Number one sports book on the face of the planet. And you know what? I'm thinking about throwing a damn bag on this one right here. Buffalo Bills to go unbeaten in the 2025-2026 regular season. What is that? Plus 10,000. $5 hairs, ladies and gentlemen, and you can create some generational wealth. I'm just kidding. More like 1,000 is what it is. Absolutely hysterical. BetUS is currently matching 150% of your first deposit all the way up to $2,000, 125% of your second and your third, as long as you use code YouTube 150. Shout out to BetUS for sponsoring said video. So Christian Benford, folks, why the hell should we pay Christian Benford this offseason? Why should we grant him a contract extension? And you know what? I feel like a lot of people, especially my friends that are not Bills fans, like they always like saying, hey, Dan, how about drafting Kaiir Elam in the first round? What a damn bust. You could have had Trent McDuffie, right? Like you could have traded up for Trent McDuffie. You could have figured that out. Well, folks, I think that's easy to accept once we hear that from naysayers, from people that like to criticize Brandon Beane and his overall drafting process. We got a guy that's right aligned with Trent McDuffie, and we got him in the exact same draft class. It's not our fault that we found him in the damn 5th or 6th round. You don't believe me? Let's go ahead and take a look at the production that Christian Benford aligned, of course, with Trent McDuffie. Here's what this all looks like, folks. Right here, I have the top 10 players according to PFF at the cornerback position as far as overall defense, etc. Have Christian Benford at number 6. You have Trent McDuffie tied for 3rd place when it comes down into it. Let's go ahead and go into coverage. What about coverage? Look at that. We have Christian Benford still in the top 10, along with Trent McDuffie just 2 spaces above him. So what I'm trying to paint a picture is everyone likes to compare Trent McDuffie and Kaiir Elam since both of them were taken in the first round. But I want everyone to take away those round designations and just think of what player we ultimately ended up getting in the draft. And luckily enough, we found a corner that is right aligned with the guy that everybody always looks us in the face and says, oh my God, you could have had Trent McDuffie this whole time. Y'all must feel like idiots. Brandon Beane has no idea what he is doing. I'm just trying to paint a picture here to let you understand what our good friend Christian Benford is aligned with. What other incredible corners in the NFL does he get compared to, right? He had a better season than Quinyon Mitchell. He had a better season than Marlon Humphrey for the Baltimore Ravens, better than Jalen Ramsey, better than Jalen Johnson from the Chicago Bears as far as overall defense. He had a better season than Gonzalez, than Jair Alexander, than Kamari Lassiter, than Gordon, than Darius Slay, Jamal Dean. A lot of incredible corners in this overall league. And on top of that, like we have already discussed how deadly that Christian Benford truly is in overall coverage, right? In DVOA, he was the 2nd best corner in the NFL for preventing separation. And it's no question why the Kansas City Chiefs and Xavier Worthy were absolutely eating during the AFC Championship, largely because Christian Benford was out, right? And we had Kaiir Elam out there playing on his behalf. The entire game plan went down the shitter once Christian Benford was carted off the field with yet another concussion. It goes to show you how important this guy is to our secondary, because otherwise we don't have answers. He is a true lockdown CB1, and not enough people are talking about it, right? Second in DVOA with preventing separation. So I think that I've painted a pretty good picture of what value he brings to the Buffalo Bills. I don't think that I am bringing this up to you for the first time. I'm sure several people in the Bills content creator community all over the news has been suggesting the exact same thing. But when I look at our pending free agents, and then I also look at all of the players that are potentially due for an extension this offseason, that is Terrell Bernard, that is Khalil Shakir, Christian Benford, of course. Now James Cook is in the conversation. Same thing with Gregory Rousseau. I got to tell you, if I could pick only one, that we could extend, it's got to be Christian Benford. It absolutely has to be. How much would that cost the Buffalo Bills? Let's go on ahead and take a look. And some of you are probably going to shit your pants, but I do want to remind you, once again, look at the company that our good friend, Mr. Benford, is in. He is a top corner in this league, ladies and gentlemen. He is a top corner in this league for preventing separation, top 10 in the league in general, as far as when it comes down into cornerbacks across the league. So definitely keep that in mind when I show you this number. And this is what we're looking at. According to Spot Track, the 24-year-old corner who was drafted in the 6th round, 185th overall in 2022, I'm going to have to tell you what, man, $23 million. $23 million a year. Market value would be at 4 years, $92 million contract. Now, again, as we always like to do on this episode, I always like to paint a picture of how contracts really work, right? Because you look at his current deal. Let's go ahead and take a look at his current deal. In 2025, he is set to make $3.2 million on his rookie deal. So if we were to give him a contract like this, folks, remember, this is an extension, okay? Like, this is an extension where we would still run with this as our overall cap number for him. And depending on how Brandon Beane ultimately ends up structuring the contract, we wouldn't even see it kick in until 2026. And if he really finesses this entire situation, then we can give him a massive signing bonus where we don't get a large cap hit until 2027. Or 2028, depending exactly how much we want to pay him. But let me tell you what, like, we look at this market value here at $23 million. Here's my biggest fear. If we don't get it done this offseason, this number is going to look closer to about $32 million, $33 million per year. As long as he stays healthy and as long as we don't see any significant drop off. However, I got to tell you, from year 1 to year 2 to year 3, he has shown nothing but development. There are no signs that regression is coming. There is no signs that he's not about to take yet another leap in 2025. So if you were to ask me, go on ahead and pay this man. Pay him this. I love this figure. Again, as I want to remind everybody, this would be a contract extension. So the cap would not be affected. This would still be his cap number. This would still be his cap number in 2025, barring any sort of massive signing bonus. Like, we would go on ahead and evenly split that right down the middle. But there are ways. And when it comes into it, have to give Christian Benford that overall situation. At 23 average annual, this is where they have put him, right? He would be of the likes of a Patrick Surtain II average salary. AJ Terrell from the Atlanta Falcons, Denzel Ward, Jair Alexander, of when they were signed based off of it. This all aligns, folks. And to be completely honest with you, I think that he damn well deserves it, because that's where we're getting this market value. We are getting it based off of players that were around his age, around his production. And that just goes to show you how damn good Christian Benford truly is to the Buffalo Bills and why I think that he needs to be priority number one for the Buffalo Bills as far as extensions this off season. Now, folks, again, if you are tuning in on the replay version of this episode, I sincerely appreciate you coming in, showing love. Please smash the like button. And say, for example, that you want to be a part of my live chat community. Make sure you subscribe and turn on bell notifications so you can be a part of these episodes while I am live. It certainly helps out the channel a lot. And I love talking to the people in the chat and getting their idea of what they think. He will cost that if we don't extend him now. Square is coming on in. Yeah, I mean, look, like I said, as far as market value is concerned, he's sitting at about $23 million. Well deserved. But remember, he's going to cost a hell of a lot more than that if he continues his upward trajectory that I am anticipating that he will in 2025. And again, it's not going to hurt our cap this year very much because he's still on the final year of his rookie deal. We don't have a fifth-year option because obviously he was a sixth-round pick, but we wouldn't even see this contract hit until 2026 and several restructures. We can go on ahead and play around with his base salary for like the 26 and 27 season, right? So it's not something that would really put a pin in us at all. It wouldn't stop us from making any move on a potential edge rusher in a trade via free agency. It wouldn't stop us from potentially extending Josh Allen. It wouldn't stop us from potentially extending, Cook or Bernard or like Rousseau, what have you. But he is that dude, and that's what we got to talk about. I know we have Josh Allen, but if we lose Kaiir, I don't know who is going to be number one. Trust for Josh Allen. We have Johnny Tran coming on in. Listen, man, I think that Josh Allen has proven year after year after year, especially based off of his distribution across all of the wide receivers, right? Like he broke records for number of playmakers that caught a touchdown pass and or have caught a pass from a quarterback. This offense completely circulates around Josh Allen spreading around the football. I don't necessarily think that Khalil Shakir is going to get extended this offseason. I think that we'll probably wait until the final offseason, midway through the season as well. But he's solid. Like, honestly, I feel like he'll be a Buffalo Bill, and I feel like we'll figure some things out because there are quite a few things that we can do with this cap, and I'm very excited to do a mock offseason here shortly, and we'll see what's going on. Big Papa Bill is coming in saying, please don't expend him. He's too injury prone, just like Trey White. Please don't extend him. He's too injury prone, just like Trey White. I wouldn't say that, man. Listen, if we're talking about Christian Benford, he's literally a top corner in the NFL by itself. He's second best in coverage, like back in 2024. And he's had a few concussions like here and there. Like that ultimately has to do with your strength and conditioning and like your rehab portions as well. Hence why our strength coach got fired. I'm not so much concerned about his injury history as I am other players across the league. So I wouldn't have that as your number one worry. I just got a pick with Hollins. He's at my school touring right now. Judah, what's going on, man? If you see him again, let him know that Dan Mitchell said what's up. He is the man, and I hope that he ultimately ends up coming back to the Buffalo Bills. I already know that he will. So you got Josh. You don't need a number one. JD's coming in with the facts, baby, and I definitely appreciate that. And plus, like we have Shakir next year regardless. And honestly, I don't think that Shakir would be that expensive for an extension this year either, right? It's just going to be a couple of different conversations. Can we extend all of the guys that are technically due extensions this offseason? I think that's a different conversation. Dude missed 2 games since he got here. Exactly. I would not put the label of injury prone on somebody unless like you see a significant injury history, right? Like so far. So I've seen a lot of people ask me about Kaiir Alexander as a CB2. If you're going to put a designation of injury prone on anybody, that is who you have to put injury prone on, right? Like dude's played 14 games in the past 2 seasons. He's played 34 in the past 4 seasons. That is an injury prone label that I am happy to distribute. Dan, I think he's worth every penny, but his injury history and concerns should have an impact on a contract offer. He's been fantastic. How many times has he been hurt or gotten hurt in the biggest game? I mean, look, right? Again, I wouldn't put that designation on him and or that label. If, for example, he was out for like 7, 8, like multiple games, year 2, year 3, then yeah, for sure. But he's still young. He's 24 years old. He's good. His body's still there. And obviously was concussions that he was going through. So let's hope that that firing from that strength and conditioning coach might be a bit more interesting. If you were to pay him an AZ Thomas out of FSU and draft Kevin Winston, absolutely nasty secondary. I love Azareye'h Thomas. He was my favorite corner at the Senior Bowl a couple of weeks ago. And then there's one dude as well that somebody in the chat pointed out to me. Was it ECU or was it somebody else? I don't know, but don't worry, folks. We're going to be unpacking a lot of draft content here shortly. But now I am just focused on free agency and re-signings. Quit sucking Josh Allen's D. You sound like you're in love with him. Makes me sick. Gordon Smith, let me tell you what makes me sick is grown men hiding behind an anime profile picture. All right. It's not my fault. You haven't seen your own dick in 5 years, my friend. All right. I recommend cutting out donuts and carbs, fool. I recommend cutting out donuts and absolute carbs. All right. Get your money up, fool. Get up out of this chat, you miserable prick. I'm just kidding, Gordon. I know you're going through it. And so I know you're going through it, man. Listen, I know women don't look at you. All right. It's not my fault that no one likes you. It's not my fault that no one likes you, Gordon Smith. Damn. Grown ass man. Someone call in his Viagra subscription. He hasn't gotten hard since the 70s, ladies and gentlemen. Anyway, don't need wide receivers or tight end with Josh, the fullback. Only runs touchdown. We could get all the best defensive players, but need better backups for when, if they get hurt. And that is precisely like what the draft is going to be like, right? It's precisely what the draft needs to be. Just go on ahead, stock up on depth. Like, look, like I am dead set, and I would be fine with trading for Max Crosby and or Myles Garrett, but still address it in the draft, right? Say that we go DJ Jones, like right within so the free agency model, still go out and draft a defensive tackle right in the 3rd or the 4th round, one of the two. Like that would be ideal. So that's kind of my thought. Dude, look at that. Is a tool bag. Shut the fuck up. Puss cake. Thank you, Rick Martinez. That's my boy. Rick, you're the man. James Cook was one of the reasons of the Bills' success this season. If he doesn't get paid, can Ray Davis replace his level of play? He had great stats from the like limited snaps that he did have, right? Like solid production. I don't think that James Cook is going to leave, right? I think we're going to come up with a deal. I don't think it's going to be $15 million, but I also think he's going to be happy. I really, really do. It will be a fair contract for about 2 to 3 years. Go Bills. Maybe with the new cornerback coach could help Kaiir with man-to-man coverage, but I doubt it. I am still absolutely dumbfounded. I am dumbfounded how people still have hope on Kaiir Elam, right? And that's no offense to you, Go Bills. Listen, I totally get it, right? But like I have given up all hope for the past 2 years. I'm beginning to think that about 99% of Bills Mafia has given up all hope, and they know that we're walking away from him as soon as humanly possible. But I feel like no one's going to help him, bro. Like he has had Sean McDermott. He's had multiple defensive coordinators. He's had multiple DBs coaches. It's just not going to work out. And Mike Pellegrino, who I'm very high on, and I know that he can get it out. But listen, Elam just was never a fit for this offense. He was a man coverage guy in college. He's been struggling with that this year. But we drafted a man zone guy, right? A man coverage corner, and tried to reteach him or reintegrate, right? How he could fit within a zone scheme. And ultimately, it was just a terrible experiment. that ultimately ended up failing. So like he's bad. It's not working. Um, let's go there. If we let James Cook go, who would be RB3? Number one sports fan is coming on in. All right, listen. If James Cook does go, if he forces himself out, then the number one target I'm going after in free agency is J.K. Dobbins. Like he's going to call for like 5-6 million, like maybe a Najee Harris as well, maybe. Anybody is really going to do well behind our offensive line. Is what it is. A good run game always starts with an offensive line, and we are returning our entire offensive line unit next year, which is nuts, right? Like our entire offensive line unit is returning next year. Like no extension is due to anybody. Like no one's a pending free agent. Like we have our entire squad, including our sixth man, who is Alec Anderson. Basically how it all kind of plays out. Derek is coming in. Kaiir Elam catfished the Bills with his interview process. I'm going to have to say that. McDermott relies more on scheme defense. Matthew is saying Josh is an MVP award, so you know it is a beautiful, beautiful thing. Kaiir is trash. Bills let him down, and Buffalo shouldn't have drafted him. People can put all the heat on him. See, but the good thing is, Rick, is that, yes, we missed on Kaiir Elam, but the good thing is that we ended up getting a corner in Christian Benford, who is currently a top 5 corner in the NFL for coverage and also overall defense. So at the end of the day, like we kind of made up for it, right? Like we sort of made up for it by finding a corner that just fits so well within this team. It's all right, Dan. I don't believe in Kaiir anymore, but I would like to, but he fucking sucks. Hey, man. Hey, man. We already know what that is. We already know what that is. As long as we have Brandon Beane as our GM, we will continue to have one of the worst defenses, including in the playoffs, for points allowed. I wouldn't even necessarily say that, my friend. Like this right here was like the worst year for us for like third down conversions. And to be completely honest with you, like we were still top 10 in points allowed like all year. I just feel like it's recency bias because we were still top 10 in the league. We were nowhere near the worst team in the NFL for points per game or points given up per game. Yes, we need to improve, but I'll tell you what, it's got to be defensive line. And don't hate on Brandon Beane because all the players that we currently love, like right now, that all of us are sweating, like, oh my God, like how are we going to get Shakir back? James Cook, Bernard, so Rousseau, same exact thing with Christian Benford. All of those big names that we're all worried about that we can't extend, all of those guys were drafted by Brandon Beane. Each and every single one of them were drafted by Brandon Beane, including Josh Allen, who's the MVP of this league. Same thing with Khalil Shakir, who is a solid wide receiver. I think all of us are super happy about that. He did conduct a trade for Stephon Diggs a couple of years ago. I know we're mad at him now, but that was a great move for Josh Allen's development. He made a great trade for Von Miller until he got hurt. Like no one was anticipating Von Miller to tear his ACL. It was a great gamble. It worked out until he got hurt. I'm not mad at Brandon Beane for missing on like 2 first-round draft picks. Every single GM in the history of the league misses on draft picks. And I don't think that we would want to trade up or walk away from a guy that is so consistent because Beane's hits home runs a hell of a lot more than he doesn't, right? Like he drafted Matt Milano, who is a massive piece right over to this defense, right? He drafted Trey White, who did solid until he ultimately ended up getting hurt. Like you can't predict that someone's going to have like 2 back-to-back season-ending injuries and completely like ruin their opportunity of being the same player. So he's been fine. I'm not mad at Brandon Beane because he has had a hell of a lot more wins than he has losses. It's just a game of inches. You know what I mean? PFF Mock Draft Simulator is giving me very realistic vibes on player draft rankings. You should check it out. Derek Cunningham, don't worry, baby. We are going to be doing several mock drafts on this channel here shortly. Writing is on the wall. If we don't get Garrett, it's an utter failure. Richie wants Myles Garrett on this squad. I'd welcome Max Crosby too. I would welcome Max Crosby as well. Our defensive line doesn't show up in the playoffs. Vaughn is old. Jones is old. Oliver can't put pressure on the quarterback unless he has a stud right next to him. Exactly. Like I was saying yesterday, Rick, Ed Oliver is not the type of defensive lineman that makes the elevation of a defensive line. He doesn't elevate a defensive line. he needs to be next to somebody that is truly a game breaker for his production. If you add a Myles Garrett, you add a Max Crosby right next to him, or we add another solid one-tech defensive tackle. I don't think it's Daquan Jones. I think Daquan Jones is ultimately going to be released, save us a little bit of money this year, right? I think that opens up Ed Oliver. Like, you need somebody else that's wildly consistent right next to him each and every single time for him to truly win. So I think we have a piece in Ed Oliver. I do think that he is a stud, but it all depends on who is right next to him making all of those plays. I would definitely agree with you. And Rick, listen, man, I appreciate you rocking with me on Facebook, man. But say, for example, that you wanted a more crowded live chat experience. Highly recommend you roll on over to YouTube, man. Same exact stream is my YouTube channel is Dan Mitchell, and then you'll be able to find all of the live chatters right over on YouTube, man. We have a great time over there. Highly, highly, highly recommend you come up and you come chill, man. Personally, I like Max Crosby upside better. Garrett is getting older. Yeah, man. Listen, I would be fine with either of them. I would be fine with either of them because you want to know why. That exclusively means 10 plus sacks for the first time since 2013. We need the 1 seed. That's so we have all home games. Dan, your opinion? Yeah, dude, listen, I feel like that's the goal with each and every single time. That is the goal each and every single time. Go Bills. As soon as an announcer says that the reigning MVP Josh Allen, I'm putting that shit as my ringtone. I love Go Bills, man. That's my guy. I love Go Bills up in here. William is saying needs to be more stunting for defensive line as well as some solid line pieces added. If not in draft, in free agency. Brother from another mother, Dwayne, what's going on, man? Hope all is well. Hope all is well. Look at that, baby. Look at that. Guys, listen, I am doing you a favor right now. Right now, Roundtable Sports has a paid-only exclusive Discord, but I am giving you an opportunity of joining for free. All right? I am giving you an opportunity of joining for free. That is the link to join the exclusive Roundtable Discord. All right? I am going to cap it at 500 users, and then after 500 users, I am going to make it exclusively paywall. So if you want to be a part of our private Discord channel, go on ahead, use that link, and join. We have a great community over there, and I am giving you this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity of joining right now completely for free, so take advantage of it. Try Oliver on the edge, 280-pound edge rusher. Not bad. What about Trey Hendrickson? He always goes off as far as pressures and sacks. 17 and a half for the past 2. Oh, wow, dude. We have 3 people that have joined the Discord. Guys, whatever you do, make sure that you follow the rules of the Discord as well. Like, don't be annoying in there. Like, talk ball. You already know the rules. So have fun at that Discord, folks. Have fun at that Discord. What about Trey Hendrickson? He always goes off as far as pressures and sacks, 17 and a half for the year straight. He's good. I'd welcome it. He's getting older, though, right? Like, he's the same age as Myles Garrett. I get that. But I don't know. I am updating the Discord daily. Dwayne, shout out Dwayne. Shout out Mike Green. Shout out all of my great mods that help me out on a regular basis. Solid dudes. I love each and every single one of them. Yeah, or deal with a 1-inch boot. One Gus. Oh, man. And so I like it on Facebook. I don't want to deal with all the bags that talk shit. I like that, Rick. Hey, Rick, listen, man. Sit up on Facebook, man. I appreciate you for tuning in to me regardless, bro. Go Bills and the lone soldier over on the book, man. I like that. I like that, man. All right, dude. Let's go, Dan. I just got into the Discord. Like I said, behave. Have a great time over at the Discord. Have solid conversations. Don't spam annoying shit. And we will be welcoming you in here shortly. Give me Myles Garrett, Grant, Ed Oliver, and Greg Rousseau going after the quarterback, baby. I think I just came a little. I'm not going to lie. I think I just came a little. I just joined Ben in, man. Matthew's already in there, dude. He's already in there. He's doing his thing. But all right, folks. Short little stream today. I wanted to unpack the importance of the Buffalo Bills. re-signing Christian Benford this offseason. It's an absolute priority. He's a top 5 corner in this league, second best corner in the NFL for coverage. He's going to cost about $23 million per year, 4-year contract projected according to Spot Track. I say you pay him. That's my thought process. Anyway, guys, smash that like button for me, please. Let's go on ahead and get up to at least 150 like buttons prior, of course, to this video losing popularity after about 2 days, since it will be old news. 200 likes with the replay is the ultimate goal. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't had an opportunity of doing so far. Turn on bell notifications for all of you that want to have the ability and to go ahead and tune in live. I love each and every single one of you. I will be back at 5:15 p.m. EST, and I'll also see you at BetUS TV's The Huddle at 3 p.m. EST. See y'all soon, and I love you so much. Peace.